Good morning, November 2nd, 2024. 2 days to the United States selections, and the awakening continues. Mars is opposing Pluto. Mars in Cancer, Pluto in Capricorn. Significant. With the full moon in Scorpio, the new moon in Scorpio, this recent new moon, new beginning, new working. And what is Scorpio ruled by? Pluto and ancient ruler Mars. So, in my opinion, this opposition of Mars and Pluto in Cancer and Capricorn on the anaretic degree, the last degree of the house, which usually reveals the dark side or the shadow of that house, of that aspect. This new moon in Scorpio, ruled by both of these planets. I believe this opposition of Mars and Pluto is very scorpionic due to those reasons. What does that mean? Scorpio is the alchemizing. It's the deepest working of the psyche, the subconscious, that which is hidden, the shadow, that which is buried, right? Buried. We have Uranus and Taurus across the chart from Scorpio. Uranus rules Aquarius, where Pluto is headed in a couple of weeks. Uranus disrupts, it breaks up the fallow ground, it revolutionizes, it comes in by surprise. It says, all of this hard ground, I have to come in and break it open. I have to unearth things that you have been too comfortable in for so long, for generations. And so Uranus is there on Algol. Astrology will blow our minds because it's God's message to us, just reflecting back the consciousness of humanity. And so is the world reflecting back the consciousness of humanity. All the world is a stage. It is full of actors who reflect back to us our consciousness, our awareness, our existence that we're living in. We like to criticize these actors, but they're actually acting out our very consciousness. And that's our shadow. As we project our shadow, we always project our shadow because we don't see it until we see it. And so as we project our shadow out, we criticize these systems and actors in the world because they are reflecting back to us our very shadow. And so there is the infinite eight, or the Ouroboros, the snake eating its tail. In religion, we learn that the snake is evil. But where does that evil, where is that darkness? It's hidden in our shadow. And what we're meant to do is alchemize that energy. That is our purpose, and that's what Scorpio does. Think of a scorpion, think of a snake, without, even the Bible says, in treasures of darkness, I will give you treasures of darkness. What does that mean? There comes a time where we have to know the truth, and the truth must set us free. And that truth usually is dark. We think of the truth as being something bright and light all the time. We think of it as being, something about the divine. Yes, but the truth also is that which is in our shadow that we must acknowledge and see. And I see many people who are trying to push forward, and teachers that are trying to say, just put the past behind, just forget about the past, don't look back. But this whole new moon and this opposition of Mars in Cancer opposing Pluto in Capricorn at the very last degree, Pluto is finishing its work, is saying there is such a strong scorpionic or alchemizing energy that must take place here that has to unearth opposing Uranus and Taurus on Algol. It must unearth to renew your mind, the psyche, the deep subconscious, to set you free. How do we get set free from disillusionment? How do we get set free from addiction? That's what, that's part of the work that Saturn and Neptune in Pisces is trying to do for us. How do we get set free from the disillusionment and the addictions of the soul that we run into because of the pain of the deep subconscious? That's why we are addicted to things, because we are deeply subconsciously in pain. And so I know there are many that are teaching right now, go forward, forget about the past, don't look back, don't, you can't go back there, but it's actually going back there. And that's what the unearthing is that's happening, going back there, deeply, deep down into that which has been covered, shoveled over with shit, buried under the rugs of life, stuffed in the closet of our skeletons, that must be unearthed. And it can be done explosively, Mars. It can be done disruptively, Uranus and Taurus. It can be done through death, Pluto. Or it can be done with grace. And we talk about the ego because the ego is meant to protect us from the truth that stings, the truth that admits, yeah, I fucked up. Yeah, I was afraid. And so I did this, that, and the other. I controlled this situation. I made this or that happen, and it turned into a pile of shit. It became a mess. I did that stuff because I was afraid. And we all do. But it's that truth of admittance that actually sets us free. The acknowledgement of that truth that sets us free. But yet the ego will run away for years and years and years from that simple truth, those simple truths, because it is so afraid to admit that it did something in darkness that did not produce life. But yet our darkness is always meant to produce life. If we allow the alchemization, the work of Scorpio, this new moon in Scorpio, trining Saturn, which is karmic. There are karmic things that were produced both through us and through our ancestors that must come to light. Where is the sun? The light. It illuminates. It puts its illumination on things. The sun is in Scorpio. That's where the new moon is, when there's the sun and the moon together. And so the sun is illuminating with this new moon. And through the moon, it brings up emotion. And we have to get in touch with our emotions so that we can correctly process the truth, know the truth, and allow the truth to set us free. But you see, there's been toxic shame. And that toxic shame not only is perpetuated by the ego, but it's perpetuated by religion. I know that was perpetuated by religion in my life, but it's also perpetuated by dysfunctional families. Just so many things can perpetuate toxic shame. And that's why I believe there is in my opinion, the Uranus on Algol in Taurus is breaking up toxic shame that has been carried with us through generations, where we were not able to say out of our mouths, this happened. And that's why family secrets. And I was saying this, and a lot of things that I say, I don't even know half the time what I'm saying. I'm just reading the forecast or intuitively channeling the message. But I was saying that by October, There will be an unearthing of family secrets that have been buried for years. And the reason that these secrets don't come out is because of toxic shame, because we are so afraid to let them out. And in my opinion, we're at a place where this disruption is here now, not only in families, but in the world. And the expulsion of truth must happen. Many of us, most of us, will have to admit, I was duped. I was lied to. I believed lies. I believed, you know, stories that weren't real. Even our history is not real. Almost all that we're seeing on the world stage is not truth. And it is just a reflection of the consciousness of humanity. These actors are just playing back to us our level of consciousness. And so as we come into more truth on a personal level, these actors must come into truth. Do you understand? These actors are designed, and through a series of spiritual laws, these actors on the world stage are meant to reflect back to us as a humanity the level, the places in which we are traversing through the realms. And so if they are in deception, that is the message it's trying to tell us. If they are in greed, that's the message it's trying to tell us. And so we're sensing this culmination of energy that is about to break open. We all can feel it. It's almost it's almost too quiet before this election. It's almost like the calm before the storm. But there's some type of an unearthing that is about to happen, but it's happening on a personal level. And, in Christianity, I was taught to pray and pray and pray and pray and pray and project my prayers out on those who I thought, on the other, who I thought had hurt me, who had caused my pain, who had caused my suffering. But until we get down to the personal level and the deep subconscious psyche, and the unconscious areas. And this is what Scorpio does. This is the work of Scorpio through the Holy Spirit that unearths and takes us inevitably down where we don't want to go to heal us. Humanity is about to experience and is in the process of experiencing healing. And this is what Saturn and Neptune and Pisces together are doing, because Neptune at its lowest octave is the addict, the disillusioned one, the one that runs away from reality, the one that runs into addictions, the one that just toxically lives in a false reality. But at its highest level, Neptune is the Christ. It is the shaman. It is the highest identity of the divine in us and through us. And Saturn is the father. It's the father of lights that actually is the dark cube, right? Saturn is the dark cube because darkness brings light, and that karmic reality has to come to us. It has to block us in and say, thus far and no more. This has been going on for so long, and you have cried out to be set free. And the greatest gift that can be given to us right now is the grace to be unashamed, unashamed. And in our ego, we're running. I'm going to go on and I'm going to do great things. And yes, we are going to do great things. But without the truth that sets us free, it's like Saturn is grabbing our bootstraps and we're just wasting energy, whether that's through prayer, through projects, through, status and things that we're building, wasting money, projects that we want to do that think we're going to get ahead. And we just, in that, like you see that cartoon and someone's holding their bootstraps or the back of their jacket and they just keep running and wasting their energy. And that's what Saturn is saying. You want to be set free. You want to propel forward, but release the toxic shame that has kept you in this hamster wheel of doing the same harebrained schemes over and over, and the same disillusionments over and over, and the same addictions over and over, and the same patterns over and over, and the same cycles over and over, the same self-sabotage over and over. And come here, and let me love you, and let me take you down where you don't want to go, so that we can alchemize this energy together. And the divine power and the supernatural power of God in you will do it. And that's Pluto. It will be a death. It will be a transformation. It will be a resurrection if you allow this to happen. But the concept of just don't look back, don't. This new moon was so clear to me in saying, in Scorpio with the sun, right? The sun and the moon together, illuminating what emotions are coming up for us and are being illuminated in this new moon. Scorpio, ruled by Pluto, opposing Mars, ruled by Mars. The two rulers of Scorpio opposing one another. Mars and Cancer, ruled by the moon. I mean, it just blows your mind. Home and family, Cancer, home and family, symbiotic, maternal, the divine feminine. Father Saturn is karmically saying you must heal the maternal wounds in you and the things that have been done through the maternal traumas. You know, we joke around, my husband and I joke around because we talk about men and women's wounds um, and how women are so wounded, right? And then they become controlling and they become masculinized, right? And how does a man become demasculinized? Through his wounds, right? And I'll always say, well, I believe a woman's wounds are always rooted in something that happened with a man. I believe they originated with a man. A woman's wounds originated with a man. That may or may not be true, but that's my belief right now. That may change because maybe I need a mind renewal in that. But I believe looking at myself and, my family wounds and other women, in my opinion, a woman's wounds have always started with a man. And that leaves a great responsibility on the masculine. And we are all the outer planets. This is revolutionary what is happening. All these outer planets are changing signs and they're moving into masculine signs. And in my opinion, even though we're hearing about the divine feminine rising up and being healed, I don't believe that's going to happen without the divine masculine. And that's why these outer planets are all moving into masculine signs, fire and air. We think of earth and water as women. Water is emotion. Earth is that stability and that grounding and that womb, right? Water is the emotional. It's Cancer. Can't by the sign, I mean sign of Cancer, where Mars is right now. The masculine is in the feminine sign, doing something. Mars masculine is in Cancer, feminine, doing something to heal the divine feminine womb. That's Cancer, the womb of the home and family. And Pluto across the chart, both rulers of Scorpio, the deeply subconscious, another water sign, right? So we're seeing some kind of healing here between the masculine and the feminine, and how the masculine, through its healing, heals the feminine. And so there's an awakening that graciously is being offered to the masculine to heal the feminine. And we could go into a whole video about that and how women will let go when they are safe, when they are healed, when they are don't feel threatened, when their traumas are healed, when their wounds are healed. And this to me is what these outer planets moving into the masculine signs really has to do with. We are going through a massive healing in humanity. And I have to go into work right now, but I want to do another video about this healing that's happening because, yes, we do have to go back. And that's what this whole new moon was all about, and this opposition of Mars and Pluto. We have to go back, but it's not a drudgeful going back. It's a renewal. It's going to cause a great renewal for humanity. God bless you.